Welcome to Kansas Ag Report with your host, Brian Hallman.
Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Brian Hallman, and here's our lineup for today's show. In Ag News, we'll take a look at local and national headlines affecting Kansas farmers. In our Ag Feature, we talk with Kevin Thielen from Kansas Beef Council, and we'll talk about the TPP program. In Inside Kansas Ag, Kansas Wheat talks about the seminar on November 12th, and Kansas Farm Bureau talks about the waters of the U.S. ruling. In the news you need to know, we get our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association, look back at last week's market activity with the guys from Paragon, and we'll let you know about important events coming up around the state of Kansas. Glad you could join us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Here's our national headlines for this week in Ag News. Subway restaurants have announced that they will introduce chicken and turkey raised without antibiotics across all U.S. restaurants beginning next year. In step with the change, beef and pork suppliers to Subway will be expected to make the same change, but are being given a target date of 2016 to implement. Subway says they know their producers will work hard to make this transition while finding alternative ways to keep their animals healthy. U.S. ag lenders are reacting strongly to proposed cuts to crop insurance delivery passed by Congress this week. National Farmers Union says the deal would reduce the rate of return for approved insurance providers through the standard reinsurance agreement, cutting reimbursement rates from 14% to just under 9%. Agricultural Committee members issued statements in strong opposition to any cuts to crop insurance, and Senate Ag Committee Chair Pat Roberts says farmers and ranchers have done more than their fair share to reduce government spending already. USDA Commodity Farm Program payments are in the mail this week to about half of the farmers enrolled in ARC and PLC programs. Nearly $4 billion in checks were mailed out Monday. The payments are going to 800,000 of the 1.7 million farmers enrolled in the programs. National Farmers Union President Roger Johnson is urging the USDA to get payments to the remaining farmers as quickly as possible. The 2014 Farm Bill safety net protects producers only when market forces or adverse weather causes drops in prices or revenues. And in local news, industry analysis says China could buy about 50% less corn for its state stockpiles in the 2015-16 season, putting serious pressure on global prices. Beijing will buy 40 to 50 million tons of corn for stock during the 6-month purchasing period that starts next month, which is down from the 83 million tons it purchased in 2014. Local Chinese governments are offering subsidies to encourage processors to use more domestic grain. China is the world's #2 consumer of corn. The Kansas Department of Agriculture has been selected to receive a cooperative agreement totaling $2.25 million over the next 5 years from the USDA. The FDA grant allows for collaboration between the KDA Agricultural Laboratory and the Dairy and Feed Safety Program to expand animal feed testing and safety in Kansas. Kansas was one of 21 states selected to receive the cooperative agreement. Kansas feedlots with capacities of 1,000 or more head contained 2.2 million cattle on feed on October 23rd, according to the USDA's National Agricultural Statistics Service. This inventory was up slightly from last year. Placements during September totaled 400,000 head, unchanged from 2014. Fed cattle marketings for the month of September totaled 320,000 head, down 2% from last year. Other disappearances during September totaled 10,000 head, down 5,000 head from last year. Up next in our Ag Feature, we talk with Kevin Thielen from the Kansas Beef Council, and we'll talk about the TPP program. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. Please stay tuned.
This segment brought to you by Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. GrassandGrain.com.
A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in Southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for weeds. Online at kswheat.com.
Dick Edwards, 2 miles east of the town center mall on Highway 24.
I'm Dr. Frank Lyons, a physician here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. As one of the only standalone stem cell centers in the U.S., we use your stem cells as therapy for arthritis and some autoimmune diseases.
I'm Dr. Andrew Poe, here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Utilizing the latest technology under strict protocols, we're able to harvest your stem cells from your own fat to treat a variety of medical conditions. The best part about it is, it's a same-day surgical procedure and requires no general anesthesia.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Biodiesel made from sustainable resources is diversifying our fuel supply. This year, biodiesel will displace over 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. It's making our economy stronger and our communities healthier. It's working here and across America. Get biodiesel going in your community. Visit americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Dick Edwards, 2 miles east of the town center mall on Highway 24.
Thanks for staying with us this morning. We're at the Kansas Beef Council office here in Topeka, and we're joined by Kevin Thielen, the Executive Director of Kansas Beef Council. So, Kevin, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
We're going to talk a little bit about TPP, which is Trans-Pacific Partnership, but let's just talk about overall beef demand when we talk about world supplies and ending stocks. Beef is kind of on a roll still.
Yeah, it is. And, I think most producers recognize that there's huge value there in those international markets for us. And, to be very honest, we've seen a little bit of a setback as far as the overall value that's coming back to our beef industry from exports. And most of what I've learned about that is it has to do with the value of the dollar. And if you think about somebody who's importing that into their country, basically with the currency up a little bit, their purchasing power is a little bit diminished. And so, TPP is one of those things that's going to help us, I think, moving forward here, and that's going to be hugely positive. Currently, about $266 of our fed animal value comes from exports, so it's a huge percent. But again, I think comparing year over year, we've seen about a 5% reduction in the overall value that it's bringing back to us. And total, it's about $4.3 billion for our U.S. beef industry, so still a huge dollar amount, but we just have seen it set back a little bit.
Well, when we talk about exports, we talk about herd expansion. I mean, you can't put those two together without talking about herd expansion. And I know what's going on here in the U.S. and Kansas as well.
Yeah, and you know, actually, that is probably the positive for us because, you know, even though, you know, the prices that we're selling cattle for, really what that, even when those prices come back a little bit and the supply increases, what that does is makes us more competitive. And you know, one of our chief competitors that we compete with in the international trade is Australia. And they're to a point where they've really diminished a lot of their domestic supply of cattle. And so they're kind of where we were a couple of years ago with the drought. And so I think that's going to be super positive for us as well. You know, Brian, we have 5 markets. Our top 5 export markets would be Japan, Mexico, Canada, South Korea, and Middle East. So, you know, we have a lot of areas that really enjoy that quality grain-fed product that we are known for. And I think taste typically always drives what people demand for.
Perfect. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to kind of get an idea of the health of the beef industry here in the state of Kansas. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. We'll see you in just a minute.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Farmers Insurance, your best protection against the unexpected. Call Agent Dan Key at 785-408-5459. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. GrassandGrain.com. Blue River Traders, the finest selection of Western-style furniture for your home. BlueRiverTraders.com.
Thanks for staying with us. We're at the Kansas Beef Council office here in Topeka. We're joined by Kevin Thielen, the Executive Director. We've talked a little bit about TPP. And let's talk about checkoff dollars. I think everybody who's in the industry understands how checkoff dollars work here in the U.S. and here in the state, but it also works internationally as well.
You know, it does. And Brian, I think we're lucky. We have the U.S. Meat Export Federation, which is our if you will, kind of the international marketing arm for the beef checkoff. And USMEF actually, they have funding from pork, from soybean, from corn, because pork and soybean at least, or I'm sorry, corn and soybean at least, they realize that when they export meat, they're essentially exporting their product, and so it's been a focus for them. In Kansas, we've always invested into the U.S. Meat Export Federation because our board recognizes the importance of these international markets, and going back to that $260, it got close to $300 per animal. I mean, that's a huge market for us, and I think one of the things that people need to remember is a lot of times we're not exporting, you know, steaks or middle meats. We're exporting maybe tongues and livers and things like that, and by moving them to those international markets, we're increasing the value of them hugely. So it's just a huge benefit for us when we export.
Hides as well.
Yeah, hides extremely invaluable. And that's actually, you know, in 2008 when we had a slowdown in the world economy, that was actually one of the areas where we really saw a pullback was in the value of those hides, going to China and places like that.
This also ties in with TPP. I mean, we're talking about international partnership and international marketing for the beef.
Yeah, so USMEF has been working for several years, you know, along with a lot of other people, partners, to work on the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And basically, if you think about just Japan, our largest market, we're going to see a tariff reduction over a number of years from 38% down to 9%, on some products down to 0%. If you kind of think about it in like maybe a beef jerky product that would be exported into Japan, the tariff right now is at 50%, and it's going to move down to 0%. So I think a huge win for us, and especially when we start talking about, you know, the value of the dollar and how that's up, and that makes us a little less of an advantage. TPP and that reduction in that tariff is going to be huge. So, I think we're going to, over the coming years, we're really going to see some benefits.
Well, not only Japan, but this could open up major other markets. We're talking about 11 countries, basically in the Asia Pacific area.
Yeah, Vietnam is another huge one. We're going to see a reduction there.
While many Kansans are familiar with modern agriculture, the typical consumer is now 3 to 4 generations removed from the farm. In order to promote agricultural education and awareness, the Kansas Farm Food Connection is teaming up with Food for Thought to host a showing of the documentary Farmland with an expert panel in Manhattan. The event will be held on November 12th from 6:30 to 9:30 in Justin Hall on the Kansas State University campus. Panelists will include a Kansas farmer, a registered dietitian, and Dr. Kevin Folta, a University of Florida professor who is renowned for his public support of GM crops. Topics for the panelists will include genetic modification, chemical usage, life on the farm, and more. There will also be an open forum to take questions from the audience. Farmland is a documentary that showcases 6 farmers and ranchers from across the United States, describing their experiences and views on modern agriculture. The featured farmers include a cattle rancher, a poultry farmer, organic onion producer, corn and soybean farmer, and several more from all walks of agriculture. The event is free and open to the public and will include small hors d'oeuvre selection. Mark your calendars for November 12th at 6:30 p.m. and join us on the K-State campus to celebrate the modern farmer and to help us share the story of agriculture. For more information, please go to raisingkansas.com.
A United States Court of Appeals recently issued a nationwide order of stay that temporarily blocks the implementation of the Environmental Protection Agency's latest Waters of the United States rule, or what is more commonly referred to as the WOTUS rule. The state provides a much-needed provisional pause to the implementation of this aggressive overreach of federal authority. In the meantime, previous Clean Water Act rules once again apply, while the legal interpretations and jurisdictions are being sorted out. Many questions have been raised regarding the scope, science, and rulemaking process surrounding the state rule. The court order states the rule has effectively clouded the jurisdictional lines of our nation's waters. The state provides time for further deliberation and an opportunity to bring clarification to a rule that is simply too important not to get right. The renewing of cooperative federalism is needed so that the ongoing good work of identifying and protecting waters subject to the Act can continue here at home. Ultimately, Congress should pass and the President sign legislation that clearly defines the waters that are subject to the Clean Water Act. The EPA should go back to the drawing board, follow the established rulemaking process, and allow farmers and ranchers to confidently work their land in compliance with the original intent of the Clean Water Act.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Impact Satellite, your local authorized DirecTV dealer. Impact Satellite at 785-554-5974.
All the time. Monthly payments of $289, $189, or even $89. How is this done, you ask? Well, with large down payments, low mileage leases, and you must qualify for all rebates offered. Can we do this? Yes, we can. But we'd prefer to give you the straight call, where we tell you all the information up front, and you make the decision on what vehicle and payment you want. You won't need bifocals to read the fine print here. Dick Edwards, serving the Manhattan, Fort Riley, and Junction City areas for over 30 years.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness awareness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
You hear it all the time. Monthly payments of $289, $189, or even $89. How is this done, you ask? Well, with large down payments, low mileage leases, and you must qualify for all rebates offered. Can we do this?
Yes, we can.
But we'd prefer to give you the straight call, where we tell you all the information up front, and you make the decision on what vehicle and payment you want. You won't need bifocals to read the fine print here. Dick Edwards, serving the Manhattan, Fort Riley, and Junction City areas for over 30 years.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
The Kansas State University All-Fresh Beef Demand Index increased 8.7% during the third quarter compared to the same period of 2014. From July through September, per capita consumption increased by 2%, while real beef prices increased 6%. K-State Associate Professor of Ag Economics Glenn Tonzer said anytime both consumption and price increase, demand improves as consumers clearly are willing to pay more for beef than in the past. He said the index suggests concerns with beef demand strength in September, while the cattle market trended sharply lower, may have been overstated or at least were offset by prior strength in July and August. Tonzer and K-State Professor of Ag Economics Ted Schroeder believe the beef industry must make strengthening demand a priority as the size of the U.S. cattle herd and beef supplies increase in the next few years. They believe this starts with understanding the factors driving beef demand and recognizing cattle and beef prices are directly tied to demand strength. The new beef industry long-range plan is built around the stated goal of increasing the wholesale beef demand index by 2% annually from 2016 through 2020. According to the plan, increasing demand by this amount will require committing resources toward driving growth in beef exports, protecting and enhancing the business and political climate for beef, increasing consumer trust in beef and beef production, and promoting and strengthening beef's value image with consumers.
Hi, I'm Brian Holder with Paragon Ag. Harvest for row crop is well on its way, and so far weather has been conducive for a reasonable pace. Production yield numbers have varied, but overall we're seeing strong results in most areas. The grain markets have remained range-bound over the past several weeks. Corn did rally 30 cents off its lows, trading at $3.90 on the December contract last week, and I would anticipate for the next couple of months a sideways trade that may be limited to $4 as the upside of that range. Beyond the December time frame, I look for prices on corn to improve on lower acres talk next year both domestically and in South America. Likewise, soybeans have remained range-bound between $8.50 and $9. The next USDA monthly supply and demand report will be out Friday, October 9th. USDA's opinion on final yields will continue to be monitored closely, but the bearish headwind we currently face is in our export markets. For soybeans, exports are always front-loaded. We sell the most in the September to December timeframe as South American supplies become available after the first of the year. If we fall behind in this period, it's unlikely we'll catch up during the rest of the marketing year. Currently, we're about 28% behind last year's sales. Corn exports are also well behind the needed pace, but with corn, Sales are more spread out throughout the entire marketing year. As prices have remained low and the near-term outlook uninspiring, marketing decisions remain difficult. If we can help clarify and answer questions on how to manage your sales, give us a call at 888-452-8751.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Well, that's our show for today. I hope you'll join us each week for more news and information about agriculture in the state of Kansas. I'm Brian Holman, and thanks for watching.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.